Hello everyone, this is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is how to generate random integers using random.randinteger function. So the function is basically Python is used to generate the random integer from the given range of integers. So it takes start and end numerical values as parameters. Okay, so this integer is generated within the whatever start and end range mention. No? Within that range, it will generate. So normally it used to generate random integer values between two start and stop ranges. And if you see the syntax, random dot rand int, and we need to mention start and stop values. So this start normally, there is an integer value we need to specify like at which position to start and stop also it is integer value and where this position to end. So that means start of the integer and end of the integer. And what we get out of this syntax is we'll get some random integer within whatever we mentioned range, so including endpoints. So normally we need to consider these errors and exceptions while working on this function. So there are two errors. One is value error. First we'll see about value error. So this value error normally comes when we uh, consider floating values. Whatever we parameters we pass, if type is floating type, then we'll get this value error. Suppose my syntax is like this, random.randint, and start value and end value I am passing as float type. Then we'll get this error, okay, value error, non-integer arg1 for rand range. Okay, so this is value error. So we'll see one more error, that is type error. So this will occurs. So whenever we pass parameter other than numerical values, suppose random.randint, and inside that, see, I passed string value a and z. So these conditions will get type error. See here, error mentioned as can only concatenate string to string. So now we'll see when to use which function. So if you see my playlist, I already created one video on rand function. Okay, so if you go through that video, we'll come to know how to use rand function. So this rand function is generally from PySpark. Okay, and whatever we are going to discuss now, random.rand integer, this is from Python's module. Okay, so if you see syntax main difference between rand and rand integer, see when working with the data frames in either in PySpark or NumPy, so whenever whatever random numbers it generate, floating numbers, so normally it is between 0 and 1. So if you apply this rand function, so what it generates is it generates floating values between range of 0 to 1. And what is the purpose is if you want to generate floating type numbers between 0 to 1 and exclusive of 1. And this is my example float. So like this, it will generate float values. So what is the syntax if you're using PySpark? So first we need to import rand function from functions. Then if you add one new column to existing data frame by using with column function, and if you write like this rand function, then it will generate float values between 0 to 1. And if you're using NumPy, so you can follow this syntax. So similarly, say about this rand one, if you want more information, I already made one video how to use this rand function. So uh, you can watch that video, so you will get in-depth idea. And if you see random.rand integer, so when you need random integers values within a specific range, see here in rand we'll get float values, and it is between only 0 and 1. But in case of rand integer, it will generate integer values, but that range we need to specify. So what is the purpose? It generates random integer values within the specified range. Okay. So the integers will be like this. See, earlier it is float values. Now this is integer values. So how we need to write syntax is, first we need to import random module. Then we need to use from random, we need to import this function randint, and we need to pass start and end values. So what it does is it generates a random integer between 1 and 100. So if you execute this one, so you'll get 45. So whenever I run first time, I'm getting 45. So if you try multiple times, you'll get a different values. So first we'll start with some examples. So how to generate a random integer between 1 to 10. So first what I'm doing, I'm importing random function, and I'm trying to generate a random integer between 1 and 10. So what is my syntax? Random dot randint, and I'm mentioning my start and end value. So since I need to generate between 1 and 10, I'm mentioning start value as 1 and end value as 10. And if you print this one, see random number between 1 and 10, 7. So I run this time, so it giving 7. If I try to run one more time, it may give some other value, see 4. So if you run one more time, it will give some other different value. Okay. So at each and every execution, this value will change, but the range is within specified range. Suppose I want to generate random integer between -10 to 10. Then syntax is same. So only I'm changing range -10 to 10. See, now first time I got -1 random integer value. If I try to run now, this value may change 2. If I run one more time, this value will change. So that means each and every execution, this random value will change. So next second, what we'll do is random integers in range with conditions. Suppose I want to generate even numbers between 2 and 20. So my syntax is same, random.randint, and I want between 1 to 10. Okay, this meaning is starting 1 and end is 10. So on top of that, I given star 2. So that means since I need between 2 and 20, I'm multiplying with 2, start 2. So then, so first time I'm getting even value is 8. If you run one more time, say 2. So each and every execution, this value will change, but it will give you only even numbers. Okay. Suppose you try with 3. See, now we are getting odd values. Okay, so like this you can try. And next, I'm trying to shuffle the sequence. So first, what I'm doing, I'm mentioning I'm trying to create one list. So I mentioned list, and I mentioned range 1 to 11. So what it generates is, it will generate a list of elements uh, with range of 1 to 10. Later, what I'm doing, I'm using sorted, and whatever this list of elements I'm calling here, and I'm using lambda function. So x colon random.randint 1, 100. So that means I'm trying to generate random values between 1 to 100. So these random values I'm using to shuffle these numbers. That means to shuffle this list of elements. See, this is between 1 to 11. So first time uh, I generated these elements. If I run one more time, these values may change. See, these values are getting changed. So each and every time these values will get changed. So next one is random integers for list. So that means if I want to create a list of 10 random integers between 1 to 50. So I'm using list comprehension random.randint 1 comma 50. So that means random integers I want to generate between 1 to 50. Once it generates random values, so those values I want to iterate. I want to iterate for I in range 10. So that means total 10 values I want to generate. So since it is a list, no, it will generate list of elements. So if I try to execute one more time, so these values will change. So similar way, either you can try with changing this number, random integers between 1 to 100, and I want within the range of 20. If I try to run, see, I will get a total 20 values and within range of between 1 to 100. If I try to run this, it will generate again different numbers. Okay, so you can change these values and you can run it according to your requirement. Next, what I'm trying to do is generate multiple random integers in a loop. So for this, what I'm doing, I'm mentioning start and end values. I'm defining in variable. Next, I'm writing loop for I in range 5, okay, up to 5. And I'm trying to print random.randint and the start value and the stop value I mentioned. So that means random integers I want to generate between 20 to 40. But 5 times it has to iterate. Okay, so if you see this one, I explained with some other different value. Now we'll try to execute this same thing here. We'll see how it generates. See, I'll try to run this. See, between 20 to 40. So range is between 20 to 40. Since I mentioned range 5, it generating 5 values, 5 elements. So you can change this value to 10. And if you try to run, see between 20 to 40, it generating elements up to 10, since we given range 10. Similar way, I want to generate 5 random integers between 1 and 100. Since I want to generate 5 integers, I am mentioning range 5 in for loop. So on top of that, I am mentioning random.rand integer. So I want between 1 and 100. So here I'm mentioning 1 and 100. So I'm trying to print this one. We'll see what result we'll get. So within the range 1 to 100, up to 5 elements are required, 5 random integers it will generate. So since I mentioned here, so it will iterate 5 times and it will generate 5 random elements. If I try to run one more time, so these values will change. Okay, so what it happened here, I given directly the start and end value. So here I defined before. I defined variables, then I called here. So you can follow either of the method. Next, what we'll do. So similar example. So same example here. So you can ignore one thing. I'll try to remove anyone. This I'll remove. So both are same. So next, we'll see how to use function for applying this random.rand integer. So I'm writing def and I'm mentioning this function number. And so I want to pass minimum value and maximum value. So, and I want to return random.randint, this minimum value and maximum value. So here I'm calling the function. I want to generate random numbers between 50 and 150. So I'm calling this function here and my minimum value and maximum value I'm passing here. So I want between 50 to 150. So it's generating here 100. Okay, so if I try to run one more time, it will change. So within same this function, you can try with this example also. Okay, if you try this one within this function, so it will iterate. So under this function, I updated this function like same minimum value and maximum value. So instead of direct statement, I used for loop for I in range, and I mentioned here variable to pass these values, minimum value and maximum value. So I want to print here minimum value and maximum value. And here I'm calling the function generate this random number, and I want to generate between 50 to or 10 between 10 to 50. So first time it generated these random numbers. If I try to run one more time, this will change the values. Okay, so this is a single value. Uh, so this is for generating multiple random values. So next what I will do, generate a random integer and use it in a list index. So what I'm doing, I'm defining one list here as variable list of elements. And what I'm doing, random.randint, and my starting value as 0 and my ending value as length of sample list. So that means this length of list. So this length of list is 2, 3, 2, 4, 5. So that means it will take 5 minus 1, 4. So that means between 0 to 4, it will generate. So what I need to print is sample list of random index. So it will generate some random values between 0 to 4. So now it given apple. So that means, sorry, that means it generated random index as 0. If I try to run one more time, see it got changed to cherry. So that means our index value is changing. So since it is every time will generate random numbers, so it will change each and every time. Okay. So next, how to get random integer using particular columns, minimum and maximum value. So first I'm calling the data frame. So I'm reading this particular CSV file. And this is my data frame. I have this many columns. And in this, what I'm trying to do is, first I'm calculating minimum value and maximum value of this particular column, cost underscore value column. If you see here, this one, this cost underscore value column. So from this, first I will generate minimum value and maximum value from this particular column. So how I am doing is df.select from that data frame. I am selecting minimum of column name. So it will take minimum value from that column and I'm using collect. So collect 0, 0. So that means to select element means value, to generate value like this. If I use directly up to here, it will be in the form of data frame, not value. So to convert data frame to value, so we need to use collect 0 and 0. So similar way for maximum value, same syntax, instead of minimum, maximum. So here I'm printing these two variables. So here it giving me minimum value as 25 and maximum value as 166 from this particular column. So later what I'm doing, I'm using random.randint and I'm passing minimum value and maximum value here. So what is our minimum value? 25, maximum is 166. So that means it will generate random integer value between 25 to 166. So first time it generating as 45. If I try to run one more time, this value will change. Okay, I am not run this one. I'll try to run this one. Okay, so now I will try to run this one to generate minimum value and maximum value, 25 and 166. Now I will try to run this one. So it generating random value as 87. If I try to run one more time, it will give a different value, 78. Now 47. So like this, we can generate random integer values. So that's all about this video, how to use random.rand integer function. So if you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.